Hey, loving listeners, welcome to Mind-Blowing Motive, the place where we guide you to live a peaceful, happy, and stress-free life. Today, we're going to talk about something that affects everyone, anger and frustration. We've all been there, right? Someone says something hurtful, a friend lets you down, or a stranger cuts you off in traffic. And suddenly, your mood is ruined for the whole day. Anger doesn't just hurt your relationships. It also steals your peace of mind and drains your energy. The truth is, when you allow someone else's words or actions to control your emotions, you're actually giving them power over you, and you don't want that. Imagine living a life where no one's behavior can shake you, where you stay calm and centered no matter what happens. It might sound impossible, but it's not. With the right mindset and daily practices, you can train your mind to stay cool and collected, even in the most stressful situations. In this video, we'll share 10 powerful steps to help you never feel angry or bothered by anyone ever again. These aren't just random tips, they're life-changing strategies that will help you build inner strength, emotional control, and unshakable peace. So, if you're ready to stop letting others push your buttons and finally take control of your emotions, stay tuned because this is going to completely change the way you handle life's challenges. Step 1. Understand that anger is your choice. The very first and most important step to never feeling angry or bothered by anyone is to understand that anger is always your choice. It doesn't matter what people say or do, what truly matters is how you choose to respond. Most of us grow up believing that other people make us angry. We often say things like, "He made me so mad," or "She ruined my whole day," or even, "They pushed me to my breaking point." But here's the shocking truth. No one has the power to control your emotions unless you give it to them. Think about it for a moment. If someone says something rude to you, why do you feel angry? It's not the actual words that create the anger. It's the meaning you attach to those words. For example, imagine two people are insulted using the exact same sentence. The first person explodes with rage, yelling and screaming, while the second person just smiles, shrugs it off, and calmly walks away. The words were identical, but the reactions were completely different. This clearly shows that anger doesn't come from the outside world, it comes from inside you. It's not what people do to you, it's how you process and react to their behavior. Here's another way to look at it. Think of your mind like a TV remote. If you hand someone the remote, they can change the channel anytime they want. If they press the anger button, you immediately explode. If they press the sadness button, you instantly feel down. But what if you kept the remote in your own hands? That way, no matter how hard they try, they can't control your emotions because you are the one choosing what to feel. When you truly understand this, your whole life begins to change. Instead of saying, "That person made me angry," you start saying, "I chose to respond with anger." At first, this might feel uncomfortable because it forces you to take responsibility for your emotions. But it's incredibly empowering because it means you are no longer a victim of other people's moods, words, or actions. You become emotionally independent. Let's take a real-life example. Imagine you're driving to work, and suddenly someone cuts you off in traffic. Your natural, automatic reaction might be to slam your hand on the horn, yell at them, and spend the next 10 minutes replaying the event in your head, feeling stressed and angry. But pause for a second. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Maybe that driver is rushing to the hospital, or maybe they're just having a really bad day. By thinking this way, you are reframing the situation. Instead of letting their behavior ruin your mood, you rise above it and stay calm. The event is the same, but your choice of reaction changes everything. This doesn't mean you should suppress your feelings or pretend to be happy when you're not. It simply means you become aware that you always have a choice. Even when someone disrespects you, you can decide whether to give them power over your emotions or to stay centered and peaceful. This awareness is like a muscle. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. Here's a simple exercise to try. The next time you feel irritation building up, take a deep breath and silently say to yourself, I am in control of my emotions. I will not give my power away. Then, visualize yourself holding a remote control and keeping it firmly in your own hands. This mental image helps remind you that you alone decide what you feel. When you begin to see anger as a choice, you free yourself from the prison of other people's behavior. You stop being a puppet whose strings are pulled by others, and instead, you become the master of your inner world. Remember, no one can upset you without your permission. The moment you take responsibility for your reactions, you unlock the first door to lasting peace and happiness. Step 2. Pause before you react. The power of the gap. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with anger is because they react instantly without thinking. When something upsetting happens, most of us go straight from trigger to reaction. Someone says something rude, and before you even realize it, you've already raised your voice or said something hurtful back. This automatic reaction keeps you stuck in a cycle of anger and regret. But what if you could interrupt that cycle? What if you could create a space between what happens and how you respond? That space is where your power lies. Think of it like this. Imagine your mind as a pot of boiling water. When someone throws in a handful of salt, a rude comment, a disrespectful action, or a frustrating situation, the water bubbles up even more. If you immediately react, you're just spilling boiling water everywhere, hurting yourself and others. But if you pause for a moment, the water has a chance to cool down. This pause is your secret weapon for staying calm. The next time you feel anger rising, don't act right away. Take a slow, deep breath. Count to 5 in your head. During those few seconds, remind yourself, I am in control. I don't need to react right now. By doing this, you're teaching your brain to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting emotionally. For example, imagine you're at work and a coworker criticizes you in front of everyone. Your first instinct might be to snap back defensively, but if you pause, you might realize they were having a bad day, or maybe they didn't mean it the way it sounded. Instead of escalating the situation, you can choose to reply calmly or even let it go completely. This simple act of waiting a few seconds can prevent hours or even days of unnecessary conflict. Here's a simple technique. Practice box breathing whenever you feel triggered. Inhale deeply for 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 4 seconds. Exhale for 4 seconds. And then pause for another 4 seconds before breathing again. This not only calms your nervous system, but also gives your mind a chance to think clearly. With consistent practice, this step will transform the way you handle difficult people and situations. Instead of being a prisoner of your emotions, you become the calm, steady person who can handle anything life throws your way. Remember, anger is instant, but peace is chosen, and it starts with a single pause. Step 3. Don't take things personally. One of the fastest ways to stop feeling angry or bothered by others is to stop taking things personally. Most of the time, when someone says something rude, criticizes you, or behaves in a hurtful way, it's not really about you, it's about them. People act based on their own emotions, struggles, insecurities, and past experiences. Their behavior is a reflection of their inner world, not a true reflection of your worth or character. Think about this. If someone you barely know yells at you in public, your first thought might be, why are they attacking me? But the truth is, maybe they're dealing with stress at work, financial problems, or even pain you know nothing about. Their outburst is like a volcano erupting. It has more to do with the pressure building inside them than with you personally. When you start to see others this way, you realize their anger or rudeness is their problem to solve, not yours to absorb. Here's a simple example. Imagine you're walking down the street, and a stranger suddenly says, "You have blue hair." But your hair isn't blue, so you probably just laugh and keep walking, because you know it's not true. The comment doesn't hurt you because you don't believe it. Now, imagine the same stranger says, "You're lazy," and deep down you've been feeling insecure about your productivity. Suddenly you feel upset. Why? Because a part of you believed their words. The key lesson here is this. People's words only have power when you give them power by believing them. When you stop taking things personally, you take away that power. This doesn't mean you should ignore all feedback or constructive criticism. It simply means you learn to separate helpful advice from hurtful noise. If the comment is useful, take it in and grow from it. If it's just someone projecting their negativity onto you, let it slide right off like water on a duck's back. One practical way to apply this is to develop compassion instead of anger. When someone mistreats you, pause and think, wow, they must be going through something painful to act like that. This shifts your focus from feeling offended to feeling understanding. It doesn't excuse their behavior, but it protects your inner peace. Another powerful trick is to practice detachment. Visualize a clear bubble of calm energy surrounding you. Whenever someone says or does something hurtful, imagine their words bouncing off the bubble without ever reaching your heart. This mental image helps you stay calm and grounded, no matter what chaos is happening around you. Remember this truth. What people say about you says more about them than about you. By refusing to take things personally, you free yourself from being emotionally tossed around by other people's moods. You become unshakable, like a mountain standing strong, no matter how hard the wind blows. Step 4. Practice the art of letting go. One of the most powerful skills you can develop to avoid feeling angry or bothered by others is the ability to let go. Many people stay trapped in anger because they keep replaying painful situations over and over in their minds. Someone insulted you last week, and even today you're still thinking about it. A friend betrayed you months ago, but you're still holding on to the bitterness. This constant replaying of negative events is like carrying a heavy backpack full of rocks everywhere you go. It slows you down, drains your energy, and steals your happiness. When you don't let go, you are actually hurting yourself more than the other person. The person who upset you might have already moved on with their life, while you are still stuck, feeling angry and resentful. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison, and expecting the other person to get sick, it only harms you. That's why learning to release negative emotions is not just a nice idea. It's absolutely essential for your peace of mind. Here's how to start practicing letting go. The next time someone bothers you, take a moment to acknowledge your feelings instead of pushing them away. Say to yourself, "Yes, I feel hurt or angry right now, and that's okay." Accepting your feelings is the first step. After that, remind yourself that staying angry will only hurt you. Visualize yourself dropping a heavy stone into a river and watching it sink to the bottom. Imagine that stone represents your anger, and feel the relief of being free from its weight. Another powerful approach is forgiveness, not for the other person, but for yourself. Forgiving doesn't mean you approve of what happened, or that you need to trust the person again. It simply means you are choosing to free your heart from the burden of holding on to the pain. When you forgive, you take back your power because you are no longer chained to the past. Letting go also means letting go of the need to win every argument or prove yourself right. Sometimes, people will never admit their mistakes or see things from your perspective. That's okay. Peace is far more valuable than being right. You don't need to attend every fight you're invited to. Walking away doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise enough to protect your inner calm. Here's a practical exercise to try. At the end of each day, close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Think about any moments that upset you during the day. With each exhale, imagine blowing those frustrations out of your mind, like releasing smoke into the air. Tell yourself, "I choose to let this go. I deserve peace." When you practice the art of letting go consistently, you will notice a huge change in your life. Small things won't bother you anymore, and even big challenges will feel easier to handle. Remember, you can't control everything that happens around you, but you can control how long you hold on to the pain. The quicker you let go, the lighter, freer, and happier you become. Step 5. Build emotional awareness. If you truly want to never feel angry or bothered by anyone, you need to understand your emotions on a deeper level. Most people get angry because they don't really understand what's happening inside them. They confuse anger with strength, thinking that shouting or reacting aggressively makes them powerful. But in reality, anger is often a secondary emotion, meaning it usually hides something deeper, like hurt, fear, disappointment, or insecurity. When you learn to identify the real emotion beneath the anger, you gain incredible control over yourself. Here's how this works. Imagine you planned a fun outing with a friend, but at the last minute they cancel without explanation. On the surface, you might feel angry. You might say, "I can't believe they did that to me." But if you dig deeper, you might realize the truth. You actually feel hurt or unimportant because you were looking forward to spending time with them. Anger is just the mask that covers the real feeling. The problem is, when you only focus on the anger, you react aggressively, which often makes the situation worse. But when you pause and analyze what you're truly feeling, you respond with wisdom and understanding. Instead of lashing out, you might calmly express, "I felt disappointed when you canceled because I was excited to see you." This approach leads to healthier communication and prevents unnecessary conflicts. Building emotional awareness starts with paying attention to your body and thoughts. Whenever you feel a rush of anger, pause and notice what's happening physically. Is your heart beating fast? Are your fists clenched? Are you breathing shallowly? These are signals that your body is entering fight or flight mode. The moment you notice these signs, take a deep breath and name the emotion you're feeling. For example, say to yourself, "I'm feeling frustrated," or "I'm feeling rejected." Simply naming your emotions can instantly reduce their intensity. Another helpful technique is journaling. At the end of the day, write about moments that triggered you. Ask yourself, what exactly happened? How did I feel? What deeper emotion might be underneath my anger? Over time, this practice will help you recognize patterns in your emotional responses. Emotional awareness also involves understanding your triggers. Some situations bother you more than others because they touch on old wounds or insecurities. For instance, if you grew up feeling unheard, you might get extremely upset when someone interrupts you. By recognizing these triggers, you can prepare yourself mentally and choose a calm response instead of a reactive one. Think of emotional awareness as turning on the lights in a dark room. When the lights are off, you stumble around, bumping into things and getting hurt. But when the lights are on, you can clearly see what's in front of you and move gracefully. In the same way, understanding your emotions helps you navigate life with clarity, instead of blindly reacting in anger. The more aware you become of your inner world, the less control other people have over you. Their words and actions might still be challenging, but instead of being pulled into their chaos, you remain calm and steady. Remember, you can't manage what you don't understand. By mastering emotional awareness, you take a huge step toward lasting peace and emotional freedom. Step 6. Set clear boundaries. One of the most powerful ways to avoid anger and frustration is to set clear, healthy boundaries with the people around you. A boundary is like a personal rule or limit that protects your mental and emotional well-being. Without boundaries, people may walk all over you, take advantage of your kindness, or repeatedly do things that upset you. Over time, this leads to deep resentment and constant anger because you feel powerless. Think of boundaries like the walls of your home. You wouldn't allow strangers to just walk in, sit on your couch, and eat your food without permission. Right? In the same way, you need emotional walls to protect your inner peace. These walls don't make you cold or unkind. They simply create a safe space where you can feel respected. Many people struggle with anger because they expect others to automatically know their limits. For example, if a coworker constantly interrupts you, you might silently get irritated and complain to yourself. But unless you communicate clearly, how will they know it bothers you? Setting boundaries isn't about starting a fight. It's about calmly expressing your needs. You can say, "I need some quiet time to focus. Let's talk after I finish this task." Simple, respectful statements like this can prevent small annoyances from turning into big blow-ups. Boundaries also involve knowing when to say no. If you always say yes to everyone, you'll eventually feel overwhelmed and angry. Maybe a friend always asks for favors, or a family member constantly dumps their problems on you. If you don't protect your time and energy, you'll feel drained and resentful. Remember, saying no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you healthy. Here's a helpful strategy. Before reacting to someone's behavior, pause and ask yourself, what do I really need right now to feel calm and respected? Maybe you need space. Maybe you need clear communication, or Maybe you need to walk away from a toxic situation altogether. Once you identify your need, express it calmly and firmly. For example, if a friend frequently shows up late, instead of staying silent and secretly fuming, you can say, "I value our time together, but when you're late, it makes me feel unimportant. Could we plan a schedule that works for both of us?" This way, you address the issue without anger and give the other person a chance to change. Setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you've been a people pleaser your whole life. You might fear that others will get upset or leave. But here's the truth. People who truly respect and care about you will honor your boundaries, while those who don't were never meant to stay in your life in the first place. When you have strong boundaries, you naturally experience less anger because you've taken responsibility for protecting your peace. Instead of waiting for others to change, you change the rules of how you allow people to treat you. Boundaries are not walls that keep love out. They are doors that let healthy, respectful relationships in while keeping negativity out. In the end, setting boundaries isn't about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself and creating a life where you feel safe, respected, and free. The clearer your boundaries are, the calmer and happier you will be. Step 7. Focus on solutions, not problems. Another powerful way to avoid feeling angry or bothered by anyone is to shift your focus from problems to solutions. Most people stay trapped in anger because they constantly replay the problem in their minds, thinking about what went wrong, who's at fault, or how unfair life is. This mental loop only increases frustration, stress, and resentment. Anger thrives on focus. The more you think about the problem, the bigger it becomes. But when you shift your energy toward finding solutions, you regain control over your emotions and stop giving power to external triggers. Let's take a real-life example. Imagine a coworker misses an important deadline which affects your project. You could spend hours stewing in anger, complaining about their irresponsibility, and feeling frustrated. Or you could focus on solutions. What can you do to fix the problem now? Maybe you ask for help from someone else, reorganize tasks, or communicate clearly with your coworker to prevent it from happening again. When your mind is solution-focused, you feel empowered instead of powerless, and anger naturally decreases. A practical way to train yourself is to ask 2 simple questions whenever something bothers you. 1. Can I change or influence this situation? 2. If yes, what steps can I take to improve it? If the answer is yes, act calmly and thoughtfully to resolve the issue. If the answer is no, then you let it go, because worrying or getting angry won't help. This practice teaches your mind to respond constructively rather than react emotionally. Another key aspect of focusing on solutions is avoiding blame. Blaming someone else only fuels anger and creates conflict. Instead, ask yourself, what can I do to make this better? This subtle shift changes your mindset from victimhood to empowerment. It also helps you maintain peace in relationships because you stop pointing fingers and start problem-solving. Visualization is another useful tool. When faced with a triggering situation, close your eyes and imagine a positive outcome. See yourself handling it calmly, resolving it effectively, and staying in control of your emotions. This mental rehearsal trains your brain to focus on solutions rather than letting anger take over. By consistently practicing solution-focused thinking, you will notice a remarkable difference in your emotional life. Small annoyances won't bother you as much, and even major conflicts will feel manageable. You'll stop wasting energy on things you cannot control and start directing it toward constructive action. Remember, anger grows when you dwell on problems, but peace grows when you focus on solutions. The choice is yours. Do you want to stay stuck in frustration, or do you want to take charge and handle life with calm and confidence? By making solution-oriented thinking a habit, you become someone who is unshakable, proactive, and at peace, no matter what challenges come your way. Step 8. Practice gratitude daily. One of the most effective ways to stop feeling angry or bothered by anyone is to cultivate a daily habit of gratitude. Anger often arises when we focus on what's wrong, what's unfair, or what others are doing to us. Our minds naturally notice problems and injustices, but if we don't balance that with appreciation, we become stuck in negativity. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack and irritation to abundance and positivity, which automatically reduces anger and increases emotional resilience. Think about it. When you wake up and immediately start thinking about your problems, bills, traffic, or someone's rude behavior, your mind is already in a negative state. But if your first thoughts are, "I'm grateful for waking up today, for my health, for the people who love me," your emotional baseline changes. Gratitude trains your brain to see the world differently, not as a place full of annoyances and threats, but as a place full of opportunities, kindness, and lessons. Here's a simple practice. Every morning, write down 3 things you are grateful for. They don't have to be huge. It can be as simple as having a warm cup of coffee, a smile from a stranger, or a moment of quiet. Then, throughout the day, whenever someone or something triggers irritation, pause and remind yourself of those blessings. This interrupts your automatic anger response and reminds you that your life is already full of good things. Another powerful technique is to shift perspective. If someone insults or frustrates you, instead of reacting negatively, ask yourself, "What can I be grateful for in this situation?" Maybe the person's criticism teaches you patience, strengthens your emotional control, or reveals areas where you can improve. Even difficult people and situations have hidden lessons. Gratitude helps you find them, instead of fueling anger. Practicing gratitude also rewires your brain over time. Neuroscientists have found that gratitude increases the production of serotonin and dopamine, the feel-good chemicals in the brain, while anger and resentment increase stress hormones like cortisol. Simply put, gratitude makes it easier to stay calm, centered, and unbothered, no matter what happens around you. Finally, share your gratitude with others. Thank people sincerely for even small acts of kindness. This creates positive energy around you and strengthens relationships, making it less likely for misunderstandings or anger to arise. Gratitude is not just an internal practice. It's a lifestyle that shapes how others respond to you as well. When you consistently focus on gratitude, life's annoyances shrink in importance. People's rude comments, frustrating behaviors, and unfair situations lose their power over your emotions. You begin to experience a deep, unshakable peace, and you naturally stop letting others disturb your inner calm. Gratitude transforms your perspective from one of irritation to one of joy, acceptance, and freedom. Step 9. Practice mindfulness and meditation. Another highly effective way to never feel angry or bothered by anyone is to practice mindfulness and meditation regularly. Most of our anger comes from living on autopilot, reacting without awareness to situations, people, or words. Mindfulness teaches you to stay present in the moment, notice your thoughts and emotions, and choose how to respond instead of reacting impulsively. When you become aware of your mental patterns, you gain the ability to let go of anger before it escalates. Think of your mind like a lake. When the water is calm, everything is clear, and you can see reflections perfectly. But when the water is stirred up with waves, you can't see clearly, and everything looks chaotic. Anger works like those waves, clouding your judgment and peace. Meditation is the tool that calms the water, allowing your mind to return to clarity and stillness. A simple mindfulness technique is to observe your breath. When you feel triggered, pause for a moment and focus entirely on your breathing. Notice the air entering and leaving your body, the rise and fall of your chest. This simple act interrupts automatic anger responses and anchors you to the present moment. You'll find that most things that seemed unbearable become manageable when viewed with a calm, focused mind. Another practice is noticing your thoughts without judgment. Instead of saying, "This is unfair, I can't stand it," silently observe your thoughts. "I notice that I'm feeling angry right now. That's interesting." This creates a space between you and your emotions, giving you the power to choose how to respond. Over time, this practice reduces the intensity of anger and increases emotional resilience. Meditation also strengthens your self-awareness. By spending even 10-15 minutes a day in meditation, you train your mind to pause, reflect, and respond calmly. You start noticing patterns, the situations, people, or words that trigger you, and you become better at handling them without losing your peace. Additionally, mindfulness can be practiced during daily activities. Whether you're walking, eating, or listening to someone, try to fully engage with the present moment. Pay attention to sensations, words, and experiences without judgment or reaction. This habit rewires your brain to stay calm in real-life situations. When mindfulness becomes a daily habit, you notice a profound shift. Small irritations no longer provoke you. Conflicts don't feel overwhelming. And rude or disrespectful behavior doesn't penetrate your emotional calm. You begin to respond with wisdom instead of reacting with anger, and you maintain inner peace even in challenging circumstances. Mindfulness and meditation aren't just techniques, they are a lifestyle. The more consistently you practice, the more unshakable your emotional balance becomes, and the less anyone or anything can disturb your calm. In essence, meditation trains your mind to be a sanctuary of peace, no matter the chaos around you. Step 10. Surround yourself with positive influences. The final step to never feeling angry or bothered by anyone is to choose the people and environments you spend your time with wisely. The truth is, the energy around you directly affects your emotions. If you constantly surround yourself with negative, critical, or toxic people, their attitudes and behaviors can easily influence your mood, making you more prone to anger and irritation. On the other hand, being around positive, calm, and supportive individuals can lift your spirit, strengthen your patience, and reinforce emotional control. Think about it like this. Imagine you're carrying a bucket of water. If you walk through a muddy field, the water gets dirty. But if you walk through a clean, peaceful garden, the water stays pure. People are like that environment. Their energy can either pollute your mind or help keep it clear and calm. Start by identifying relationships that consistently drain your energy. It could be a friend who constantly complains, a coworker who thrives on conflict, or even family members who criticize you relentlessly. You don't always have to cut people off completely, but you can limit your exposure and protect your mental space. Remember, setting boundaries with toxic individuals is not selfish. It's necessary for your peace of mind. Equally important is seeking out positive influences. Spend time with people who are calm, uplifting, and solution-oriented. Listen to motivational podcasts, read inspiring books, or join groups that encourage personal growth and emotional well-being. These positive inputs gradually reshape your mindset, making it easier to stay calm and unbothered. Another key factor is your digital environment. Social media, news, and online discussions can often fuel anger and negativity. Be mindful of the content you consume. Follow accounts that inspire, educate, and uplift, and unfollow or mute content that triggers irritation or frustration. Treat your mind like a garden, only plant what you want to grow. When you intentionally surround yourself with positivity, your emotional resilience strengthens naturally. Negative behavior from others will no longer penetrate your calm because you have created a supportive and uplifting environment that reinforces peace. You'll notice that the world still has challenges, but your ability to remain unshaken increases dramatically. Finally, remember this. You become like the people and energy you spend the most time with. Protect your mental and emotional space. Nurture it with positivity. And watch how naturally anger, frustration, and irritation lose their hold over you. By surrounding yourself with the right influences, you create a life where peace is the norm, and nothing or no one can disturb your inner calm. And there you have it. 10 powerful steps to never feel angry or bothered by anyone. Remember, staying calm and peaceful is not about ignoring reality or pretending nothing affects you. It's about taking control of your mind, emotions, and environment so that no one can steal your inner peace. Start practicing these steps daily, and over time you'll notice a remarkable transformation in how you respond to people and situations. Life will feel lighter, relationships will improve, and you'll experience a freedom that comes from true emotional mastery. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Mind-Blowing Motive for more motivational content that helps you grow, stay positive, and live your best life. Stay calm, stay strong, and remember your peace is priceless.